Talks. I'm Angela.
I'm Krista, and on today's episode, we are going to discuss something that we have been holding on to.
It's called Stories Behind the Labels. Behind every diagnosis, anxiety, depression, ADHD, BDP, BPD, there's a real person just trying to be okay. And with us being in Mental Health Awareness Month, we wanted to be honest and open about the struggles that we have had.
And spoiler alert, none of us are just our labels.
No, so for myself, when I was 16 years old, I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. I remember thinking that I was just broken. I didn't understand why I had the feelings I had, and I didn't want to tell anyone because I thought that they would look at me differently, and I just wanted to be normal. And my day-to-day struggles didn't make it normal. Going in public was very difficult if there was large crowds, and I would have anxiety attacks that at that time I didn't know that's what it was. So I think that was the hardest part about going to be diagnosed, but getting diagnosed was probably one of the best things I've ever done.
Same. So when I was 28, I was diagnosed with ADHD, and then it was about 6 months to a year after that, borderline personality disorder. And the ADHD part, I was like, that makes sense. As soon as they said it, I was like, no brainer. But the borderline, I was, what? But when you hear it and you don't really know about it, it's just like, you're like, oh my God, what's wrong? I knew there was something wrong with me, but what do you mean? I feel like not a lot of people have it, or not a lot of people are aware that people have it.
People don't talk about it.
Right. So
because it's
I
a
was
stigma associated with it. Because when people hear bipolar or schizophrenic, it can be a negative. People look at you negatively and think, oh my God, they're crazy. Or, right, there's something really wrong with them.
And that's what I thought. As soon as they told me my diagnosis, I was like, oh, calm down, all this stuff. And, but like you, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And for myself, when I was diagnosed, my psychologist recommended that I read Borderline Personality Disorder for Dummies. Yeah, I was laughing. I was like, you want me to do what? And he's like, no, I'm serious. If you read that, he's like, I can sit here, I can tell you everything about it. He's like, I want you to just go read the book and just go from there. Tell me what you think, whatever. I bought the book. The best book I've ever read, because literally as I'm reading it, lights are going off in my head and I'm like, oh, that's why I did that at that age. Oh, yep, that's me.
It's interesting you're talking about your psychologist recommended a book, and so the book I was given at 16 years old was the Feeling Good Handbook. And ironically, I was diagnosed by a psychologist. It is 25 years later, and I have gone back to that psychologist. The first time I walked in to see her, she remembered me. She remembered the story. And I ended up telling her that she had recommended the first self-help book to me at 16. So I actually told her that I, to this day, have that book. And I reference it because there's sometimes where it may not even be related to me. It can be related to my son. And I just do a quick double check on, well, is there something that I could be doing different? Because it provides a lot of tools to be able to cope. And there's a lot of learning to be said about a lot of those good self-help books. Although I will say I've never read a For Dummies book, and I have heard that they're really good.
But honestly, it's the best book I read in terms of that I could relate to. Because if I was reading a book about myself.
Well, then that's how you know that you got the right diagnosis.
Exactly. 100%.
Because I feel like there's probably people who get diagnosed and then start doing research.
And they're like, what? Because it helped us to understand who we are, why we do things the way we do them, and how to do things in different ways. There's not just one way to do things.
Right. So how to look at other people and be like, oh, let me take a step back. Maybe the way that I'm explaining something is not the way that
they are understanding it.
Exactly.
So I need to figure out a different way to explain it.
And I think a lot of it has to do with trial and error.
Yeah.
Some people don't want to do meditations, and that's fine too, as long as they're learning coping techniques. And that's not for everyone.
No.
Medication is there for a reason. And it's typically, it's chemical. There's a lot happening for there to be diagnoses. FYI, we're not doctors,
Nope.
psychologists, we're nothing. But just normal people who have been through things.
Yep.
And that's why we're here.
100%. So all that being said, basically,
Because when you first get diagnosed, you feel labeled. You feel like, oh my God.
that in itself is anxiety.
Exactly.
You're like, what do you mean? I paid you for anxiety. You just gave me more.
But it's that journey, and it's taking that step within yourself to say, so what does this mean for me? How does this look for my life? Everyone's journey is different. Everyone's journey is beautiful. It's very empowering, and it's important that everybody's voice is heard, and some people may not be comfortable using their voice. So many of us are here on their behalf, and hopefully we're doing them justice. But we do want to lighten things up now.
So laugh and cry segment.
So what's yours this week? What did you do this week? Which is really funny. It is.
So,
Sorry. I already know what you did.
I tried one of those productivity apps that are supposed to help your ADHD brains.
I already know what you did. Because I know what you're like. What'd you do?
I may or may not have spent 3 hours organizing the app folders.
So instead of learning how to be productive, you went to organize the actual app that you're supposed to be using.
So instead of completing my task list, I color-coded the app.
I feel like that happens to you a lot. I feel like you're like, oh, I'm going to put some groceries away. And then you end up reorganizing.
Oh my God, I did that. I'm dead serious.
Reorganizing again. That is you to a T. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Well, I guess we'll call it, it was a fail. It was a definite fail. See how you go to therapy and every therapist is like, you should try meditation. And you're like,
Try meditating.
so I had the meditation app. And then I got an anxiety attack
From the
meditation. Because I was anxious that I wasn't meditating the right way that you're supposed to meditate. But I know, and then I couldn't. Anyways, it was a hot mess.
If you've ever been labeled and you don't feel like that defines you, it doesn't. And no one, whether it be you, your loved one, your friend, your whoever, nobody is just a diagnosis. You're much more than that. Being diagnosed is just a part of you. And I hope that any who has been diagnosed with anything, whether it's mental health, whether it's health, I just hope that they don't allow that to label who they are, because it's not who they are. It's just a very small part of who they are. And there's so much more to you. No.
And it's a part of your story. It's a part of your journey. It makes you who you are. But it's not your whole story, and your story matters however you want to share it. If you want to share it, feel free to DM, message, email. All of the information is on our site. So we might feature it if you send us in something. We would love to hear from you.
And if you do want to send something in, and if you want to remain anonymous, we will definitely do that. We will never disclose anything that you do not want disclosed. I keep playing with my hair.
I do, which is really weird today.
Well, I use new shampoo and conditioner. It's super soft.
ADHD at its finest.
It was the table.
Oh, God. So we're learning. We're getting here. We're starting to work on this podcast and figure out what works best for us. Thank you for watching.
And an even bigger thank you if you made it through the entire episode.
Yeah.
That's
We
a
are
lot.
everywhere.
No, for real. Thank you very much. We appreciate everyone and anyone who, even if you watch 10 seconds.
Yes. Thank you. This is Humor and Heart Talks.
Peace.
And we'll see you next time.